Welcome to the Property Guide in ET Now. I'm Faye D'Souza. This is your one-stop guide to property investments in the country. Whatever question you have, we will be glad to answer your questions on the show. Feel free to write to us. Email ID is at the bottom of your screen. And of course, you can reach me personally on Twitter. It'll be my pleasure to hear from you. With many developers offering great discounts and deals in the festive season, we'll tell you how to find the best bang for your buck when buying property. We'll answer questions you sent in during the week on Kolkata, Chennai and Bangalore. Joining us in the studios today, Om Ahuja, CEO of Residential Services at JLL India, Jayashree Kurup, Head of Content and Research at magicbricks.com. Before we start talking about the festive season, I want to very quickly ask our guests this one question. Om, we heard from the Prime Minister's travels to Japan that there has been some sort of an MOU or an understanding that has been signed with the team in Japan to work on Varanasi as possibly our first smart city. Tell us what this means for property in Varanasi. How long of a pipeline or a period do you think it's going to be before we hear anything more concrete?
Well, very difficult to say what is part of MOU, but would be very cautious at this point of time in terms of saying that if there is any speculation in the local market there. One should not forget what happened with Patna a few years back. People said Patna will actually transform. We haven't seen, other than prices moving up, nothing really happening on the ground. We're hoping that Varanasi will actually get transformed into first smart city of India, but we need to see what all is happening along with it in terms of manufacturing, in terms of job creation, in terms of appreciation. So very difficult to say at this point of time that is it right time to enter or is it right time to watch and then enter.
Also, Varanasi right now, other than the fact that it is a religious pilgrimage destination, is there anything else going for the city?
But I would say at this point of time doesn't seem so.
Okay. Jayashree, when we talk about Varanasi right now, there'll obviously be some people watching who maybe have homes there or maybe have some sort of stake in Varanasi. What's your advice? Should we wait until we hear more information? What are you seeing? Do you see any sort of spike of interest on the website in reaction to that announcement we heard from the government?
It is a city that handles huge volume of pilgrims. Pilgrims, it is a religious destination. So you have this huge floating population, and if it can do anything like what was done, say, in Tirupati and other cities like that, it would become a model for. Out of the smart cities, India has a large number of pilgrim cities, and it could well serve as the model for the pilgrim cities, so that there is a it's catering more to the floating population and efficient management of the city, even while there is a huge floating population. The second thing is that it's talking about waterfront development. So any waterfront development always creates a small spike in values near the waterfront. But having said that, I would say that the small investor should be waiting, should not be jumping into the fray thinking that this market is going to boom. I would say the small investor should always wait for the policy to play out.
All right, so we're waiting for the policy to play out, but just to remind you, this government had on its agenda 100 smart cities. Now, the first name we've heard on that list so far is Varanasi, but we're waiting to hear more from the government. Remember, it does take about between 7 and 10 years for anything to really play out, in this country. We're going to talk about the festive season now. We're in the festive season. It's always a good time to take a look at deals and discounts. Now, last year, while there were excellent deals in the market, sales were not as exciting. We're going to find out what to expect from this festive season. Now, if you look around, you'll already know there are cash discounts of up to 15% that you can expect on this festive season. There are cars, there are trips to Singapore up on offer right now. What does this mean for us as buyers? Let's find out. Om, I want to bring you in here first of all, and I'm looking at a list that my team has drawn up, and the names on it are quite impressive. There's Kalpatru, Dosti, Runwal, Supertech, Gorsans, Raheja. These are all big names, and the offers are also quite attractive at this point. What does this mean in terms of sales? Does this mean that sales have not been as hot as they expected over the last 2 quarters? Is that why the offers are still available?
Well, I would say there are two ways to look at this situation. One is the festive season always is a spike where every developer looks at uptick in terms of sales velocity. Keeping in mind that new government has been 100 days in power, the positive sentiment has not resulted into the dramatic increase of sales velocity what people were expecting on the ground. The closures have started improving in some specific cities like Bangalore, which was already doing well. Now it is doing exceedingly well. We've seen Bombay and Pune, and to a little extent we've seen Hyderabad picking up.
So, I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you there. When you say that, sales have not picked up on the ground, why is that? Is that because customers are still waiting for lower prices?
Well, I would say it's, I think, job sentiment, promotions, increments, lot more go into in terms of when you take a property decision. So what we have seen is on the ground, the velocity, the sales number of units being sold per month on an ongoing basis, with the sentiment improving, that should double or triple. Typically, that's how we've seen the car sales improving in last 3 quarters or 2 quarters. Specifically, last 1 quarter, car sales have given a spike. That spike has not been seen in the real estate space where we were expecting. So developers are trying to see if the offers which they had or the offers they are launching for festive season will give them the sales velocity, uptick in terms of sales velocity that is being expected out of this festival season. The impact what we see is in terms of expansion, in terms of commercial offices being leased, more and more demand in commercials area. That will result into more job creation and more requirement of houses. That is maybe 6 months away, 3 months away. This 3-6 months with the festive season, developers are expecting this will actually help them to improve the sales velocity.
Jayashree, you just finished another one of your surveys among buyers in the country. Tell us this, how many people are actually intending on closing deals on homes over the festive season? How important is this season right now for the industry?
Even now, the consumer is willing to wait for about 6 to 8 months before concluding the transaction. If he finds the right property, he's willing to transact because right now he can negotiate. And this has come out of the quarterly housing sentiment index that we have just recently launched about 2 weeks ago. In addition to that, we went back to the consumers and said, if there are so many freebies that the developers are offering, what is it that will make you buy? Are you planning to buy during the festive season? And about 41% of our consumers, respondents said that they are willing to buy in the festive season. And about 38% of them said it depends on the urgency of their need. They like the festive season, they will shop around in the festive season, but depending on the urgency, that is how they will close. But more interestingly, we asked them, what is it that will, what is the incentive that will make them buy? And they said cash incentives are the key. They don't want, I don't think the gold coins and the Singapore vacations are really swaying them. What they would like is if you can put, say, 10% of the money now and the rest after a long period of time, where they get a reprieve from paying regularly, but they've already entered the property market. That seems to be the one thing that is guiding the consumer.
Oh, it's very interesting. The sort of luxury market in central Mumbai is where we're seeing a lot of the discounts. And this is on a hoarding. This is Trump Tower. Save 1.5 crore rupees as prices will increase after the 7th of September. Is this a kind of cash discount? And what does this mean for this particular market for someone who's looking to buy in the Parel, Lower Parel, Burri area?
What I would say, specifically coming to this specific hoarding, what we are seeing in the city is what the developer would have decided that they will increase the price from 7th September. So before that, it's trying to drive the rush to basically get the customers on board. Keeping in mind what Jayashree said, specifically, even today, if somebody is looking to buy something, if he is going to a developer along with a right advisor saying, negotiating on the table, developers are ready to negotiate and give the cash discount. Not necessarily developer is saying you take this gold coin or a Singapore vacation. Developer is ready to adjust that cash price against the property price. So it's very important to basically take the right mindset, take with the checkbook, go and discount, take the discount from the developer directly. In terms of hoardings carrying special festivals, special discounts or prices getting increased from specific date, those are primarily developers who are trying to see if they can get the rush in before a specific date.
Jayashree, give us a quick checklist. If I'm going out to buy right now and I actually take up one of these offers, how do I make sure that the contract is watertight, that I'm not being taken for a ride?
Faye, again, I would say go for, read the fine print. Since you're spending so much money, get it vetted by an expert. Another thing is, be sure that you're buying from a developer who's got all his approvals in place. We've been saying this every show, and I would continue to say this for some time to come. Please go and check out the approvals. There's no harm in asking for the for approval after approval, because after all, it's a large sum of money that you are placing with the developer.
All right, you had something to add to that.
Well, I would say very rightly said. like you basically take a legal consultation in terms of when you buy a property, it's also important to, irrespective whether you want to avail a home loan or mortgage, please go get the project cleared in terms of home loan perspective, because you get double assured. Moment a bank is giving you a sanction letter against the property, that gives that bank has also done the due diligence. It helps you in basically keeping that comfort level. Whether you avail only 5% or 10% of the home loan, please avail, get the scrutiny done. It helps you in terms of long term. Buyer needs to see that all the agreement carries the specifications, so that tomorrow if there is a dispute, most of the times we've seen developers say, in most of the cases we've seen, they do the registration at the 20% moment you do the 20% payment or 30% payment, depends upon the city to city. But it's important to get the registration done. That secures you with all being documented in the agreement of sale. That helps in terms of ensuring the future there is no dispute which can be debated.
All right. So even if you're just borrowing 5% from the bank, and it's interesting because processing charges on a home loan are between 10 and 15,000 rupees. If you were to do the same legal check on your own, it would cost you far more. So that might make sense to actually take a small home loan just to, yes.
There are websites which offer you now, actually they pay you money to get a home loan. So there are websites which are basically giving you the processing fee back. You don't need to pay money for it.
All right, there you go. So make sure you take at least a small amount on a home loan so you can run a search in your developer. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put up a list of big offers this festive season from developers. Remember, these are not recommendations. These are just so you know what's out there. These are offers from developers this festive season. Here are some interesting festive offers from developers in Mumbai. The Gajra Group has a discount of between 2 and 3.25 lakh rupees on its Bhumi Gardenia project. Mahavir Universe Phoenix by the Damji Shamji Shah Group is offering EMI holidays during the construction period. You can book a home for 1.8 lakh rupees at the My City project by Runwal, and Trump Tower by the Lodha Group has offered a discount of 1.5 crore rupees available until the 7th of September. If you're in the NCR, here's what's on offer. You can book a home at the Anjara Homes project with only 10% of the total value. Gore Sports Wood by Gorsons has a buyback scheme on offer, and you can book homes in Raheja and Supertex projects at 25% and 10% of the value respectively. According to PropTiger.com, buyers of the Garden project by Anjara and Greater Noida pay nothing until possession. Island City Centre by Bombay Realty offers a 30-70 payment plan. Pay 40% now and the rest on possession for Vatika Group's Express City project. A booking discount of 30% is on offer for customers of the Airo developers in Ludhiana. Marbella by MRMGF has a 25-25-50 payment plan on offer, and Godrej Properties has a 25-75 payment plan on offer for its Summit project. All Purvankara projects allow customers to pay 15% now and nothing till possession. Welcome back. You're watching The Property Guide in ET Now. Thank you for staying with us. Both Om and Jayashree are still with us, helping us make smart decisions when it comes to buying property. Well, Yash Jain has written in he wants to buy a 3 or 4 bedroom flat in Kolkata with a budget of 90 to 1.2 crore rupees. He wants to live in this flat. He's interested in North Kolkata. He's narrowed down locations of Kakurgachi, Lake Town, Ultardanga, and he wants to know which of these locations really he should opt for. Jayashree, could you give him some advice?
Say in all these localities, they all fit into his budget, more or less fit into his budget. Let me just quickly did a spot check on the site, and I'll quickly take you through them. In Kakurgachi, you can get, it's roughly about 6,200 to 7,500 per square foot. So you would get about a 1,400 to 2,000 square feet apartment for 1 to 1.2 crore. So you are, and if you, since he's looking at rental returns, I think he would be able to get roughly about 2,400 to 4,300. 24,000 to 43,000 per month, according to whichever property that he takes. In Lake Town, he can get in 80 to 90 lakh, about a 15 to 1,700 square feet apartment, and 18,500 to about 25,500 is the rental return. In Ultadanga, he can get about 1,200 to 1,700 in 90 to 1.1 crore, and in Fulbagan, he can get in 90 lakh to 1.1 crore again. And he here again he's getting about 25,000 to 37,000 per month. Good rental returns, fits into his budget. If he wants to buy here, a 3 BHK is available to him. So he should actually scout on the ground. We have lots of options on the site.
Let's take another question on Chennai. Guru Prasad is looking to buy a 2-bedroom flat in Chennai for an investment. His budget is 75 lakh rupees. He says, what would be a good locality to invest in? He's looking at doubling his investment in the next 5 to 7 years and earn decent rental returns as well. Give him some advice on the same. Is it possible to double returns in Chennai in 5 years?
There's a possibility with the kind of infrastructure developments going up in Chennai. We would see that areas like Perangudi, areas like OMR, Sholinallur and ECR, these are the pockets to look at. Prices haven't gone up as much as one would have expected in the last 2 to 2.5 years. They have inched up, but they have not actually gone up substantially as compared to other cities in India. What we feel is there are multiple projects in these areas like Perangudi. There is a project called Falling Waters he can look at. He can look at embassy residencies in Sholinallur, which is again a very prime location, operational, good rental yield. There are many such projects in this area one can look at. So there are areas where one can look at buying today at say 75 lakh rupees budget. It's a good budget to buy. You can look at, yes, there's a possibility that money can double in 5 years' time.
Jayashree, if you look at Chennai right now, he's also very specific about the fact that he wants rental returns as well. What neighborhoods would you recommend to him?
Checked out from the rental returns perspective on the site, and I'll talk about a few localities where he could get good rental returns while he waits for his money to double. Korattur, Tiruvanmayur, Madipakkam and Mogapair, these are places where he should be able to get, we have options within his budget, and he can get roughly about 9,500 to about 25,000 rupees per month as rental returns. Again, Faye, these will be older properties. These are from the secondary markets. I don't think there are new projects coming up here, but he can get a good rental return while he waits for these to go up. And we kind of checked and found that these are the areas which have posted upwards of 20% growth in the last 2 years. So if he holds on for 5 years, he should be able to get a good return.
All right, let's take another question on Mumbai. Angad has written in, he's looking to buy a 3-bedroom apartment in Navi Mumbai or the nearby areas with a budget of 1 crore rupees. Please give me some good options. Obviously, Vashi at this point is not going to fit into his budget, but he'll have to go a little further on. Where would he get a 3-bedroom?
Kharghar, by stretching a little bit more, 1.2, 1.1, there are still good options in Kharghar in and around the golf course. That's a good area to look at. That still has a lot more room for upside. And of course, there is Kalamboli, which he can afford a 4-bedroom there, maybe a little more. Considering the potential there, yes, these are 2 areas I would recommend in terms of looking for.
So tell me this, if I'm looking to buy in Navi Mumbai right now, should I buy a smaller apartment closer to the Vashi area? Or like you said, 4 bedrooms a little further off?
But I would say Vashi, the way I see Vashi is, Vashi doesn't have supply today. The real challenge today is Vashi, it's only for future is redevelopment there. And considering there's no supply, the prices will start inching up. The prices have already gone up. We still see prices upside further possible there. Vashi is a very promising destination. And considering there will be no supply in coming years, it's also advisable to look for options in secondary market there. Buy something which is very attractive in resale. Keep a view of 5-10 years, you may see redevelopment and you may still benefit a lot. Considering that Vashi doesn't have supply and prices are unrealistic at this point of time in terms of upside, you may have to stretch yourself to go to Kharghar. Kharghar, even today, the prices still look reasonable. I would say that, restrict yourself to Vashi and Kharghar or Kalamboli. Don't go beyond. Panvel, considering the supply factor, prices going up becomes a big challenge. So one should be very careful in choosing the right product in right area.
All right, let's take another question on Ahmedabad. Vikas Parekh has written in, he's looking to buy property in Ahmedabad as an investment and hold it for 5 to 7 years. That seems to be like the magic time period at this point. He has a budget of between 20 to 25 lakh rupees. What area do you suggest? 20 to 25 lakh rupees in Ahmedabad?
Well, you will get a lot of options there, but not from reputed developers. If in case there is a choice from reputed developers, there are 2 reputed developers in Ahmedabad today. That is, one is Adani and the second one is Godrej. I would say one should look at increasing little more budget and look at going with the reputed players rather than going with standalone buildings.
But that limits his choices. That's one or the other then.
Yes, I'm looking at 5-7 years. You have to look at appreciation. You have to look at lease part of it. You need to have a rental income from the asset. Keeping all this in mind with the new townships which are getting created there, considering smart city, considering a lot more advantages, I would say restrict yourself to gated communities there.
Jesh, I want to ask you this. For an investment in Ahmedabad at this point, 5-7 years, is that enough? Would you like him at least to have a slightly longer time horizon?
Yeah, I think he's keeping that standard 5 to 7 years, which is what we advise users to have when they invest in real estate markets. It's like this. if the manufacturing sector takes off, and if the Ahmedabad-Mumbai corridor takes off, in 5 to 7 years, you would see a lot of jump in property values. But he does start with a very, very small base, 23 to 25 lakhs. He would get local developers in places like, in Jivraj Park, for instance, he would get a very small 550 to 720 square feet apartment. If he goes into Naroda, Windsor, you would get, about a 900 to about 1,200 square feet apartments. So you see, he's investing a very small amount. Whether those categories of properties would actually rise in the next 5 to 7 years, I couldn't say. It really depends on how the market will pan out. And this is an interesting time for the real estate market because it is all linked to the economy. The economy is giving certain positive signals, which means that manufacturing is going to go up. There is a smart cities move. So if the smart cities move comes, Ahmedabad is definitely going to be on that smart cities roadmap. So considering all this, yes, there is a future prospect, but can you look into the crystal glass and tell him how much it will rise? I don't think so.
All right, so you have to be prepared, of course, to hold on for a little longer than 5 to 7 years when you're making a property investment. Last question on the show. Of course, it has to be a question about Bangalore. We have one every week. Manoj Mario has written in he wants to buy a 2-bedroom residential apartment in Bangalore with a budget of 1 crore rupees. He shortlisted the Shapoji Palanji Park West project. And he wants to know what the prospects of the project are, what the expected rental return would be 5 years from now, and are there any better choices? Now, this particular project is in Chamrajpete in Bangalore. It's interesting. This one, and there's a Tata Pramont project, which is in Banshankari, and they're both old traditional Bangalore localities. But this is luxury supply that's coming up in the middle of a very traditional neighborhood. What is your view of Chamrajpete as a neighborhood and this particular project there?
Well, I would say at this point of time, when you look at leasing rental income from this specific project of Shapoji Palanji, seems a little futuristic. But the way the project is turning out to be, the plan, the amenities, the specifications, it's unbelievable. Considering the area and considering the budget, I think it's a no-brainer at this point of time, taking a risk in terms of investing into this specific project with the background and the pedigree of the developer. You will not go wrong, and seems very promising. The area is very, very prime area in terms of all aspects of it, considering the only negative being the neighborhood, which is still in terms of low rises, low small buildings and stuff like that. But if you can, eventually this whole area will change. Considering it's close to every amenity in Bangalore, I think it's a great investment in all respects.
Great investment in all respects. Jayashree, when I ask you this, what do you think the rental return will be in 5 years' time on this project in Chamrajpete? Do you have any idea that you could share with us?
Today it is about 13,000 to 18,000 per month. But let me put it like this. It will be very much like what happened to Bandra East when one big developer created a new development of a different type from the rest of the neighborhood. It kind of pushes the whole neighborhood up, and there will be a rise in rental values. And it's because it's a traditional area and it is a very, very good developer, the values that it will command is not what the area is posting currently. So it will definitely post much better values, and in the next 5 years, I think it would fetch much better rental returns. But in the Chamrajpete area, you are getting roughly about 13,000 to 18,000 currently.
All right, so both of our guests agree there will be an excellent investment at this point. That's the Shapoji Palanji project in Chamrajpete in Bangalore. We've come to the end of the show. Om and Jayashree, thank you so much for spending time with us this week and answering all of our questions. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, if you have a question about buying property, write to us. Email ID is at the bottom of your screen, and you can reach me personally on Twitter. Thanks for watching.